Good warning. Good warning.
Good warning.
This is your first warning.
Is this your first warning? This is ScreenJunkies Universe, and we will not be stopped. I'm Roth Cornet. That's Dan Murrell.
It's a new record.
Joe Starr. Spencer Gilbert.
What's your second favorite Alkaline Trio album?
Heart Dead.
Heart Crash in a Lunchbox.
This is absolutely a new record, and it's my own fault because I told Billy Business, our producer, at the beginning that this was going to be a great show today. So inevitably, good warning to you.
Good warning.
Good warning.
Lots to talk about today. I actually got a tweet this morning that inspired our opening topic today about Annihilation, which Dan and I were lucky enough to see last night. We'll be reviewing that later today. And as some of you may know, this film from Paramount is somewhat similar to the Cloverfield film that went to Paradox, that went to Netflix, in that Annihilation will open here, it will open in Canada and China, but then other than that, it has no worldwide theatrical release. It's going to go straight to Netflix. And it's also had a very limited marketing run. This is after test screenings revealed that they believed audiences that this was, quote, too intellectual for audiences.
Y'all dumb. That was what the other press release said.
And so they chose, the audiences did not respond well. There was some friction between the studio and Alex Garland, the director who also directed Ex Machina, a film I love, about changing the ending, which I do not think they ultimately did. I've checked with someone who saw JTE, let's just say, be clear, who saw the early test screening, and we compared, and it doesn't sound like they did change the ending, which is great.
Do they grade test audiences on a curve?
I'm sorry?
Just people that have like enough free time on their hands to be like, I'll see a half-done movie.
Well, the truth is with a movie, and we're going to get into this because I think that JTE is protesting from the booth, to be fair. The truth is
like people that do focus groups and stuff, and they're like, I'll eat paste. Like, what do I have to lose? And then,
for $50.
Yeah, I think it's a
I used to
self-selecting
moderate
group of
those.
people. You did?
Mm-hmm.
I still do them. I still eat paste.
There we go. Yeah, I'm coming for you, test audiences everywhere. Y'all dumb. Go on.
Oh,
Sorry.
man. No, I think that's a good point. But yeah, how much should studios listen to a test audience or not? How much should they just commit? Well, here's the question, though. Should they or should they not? For a film like Mother, for example, which they invested $30 million in, they did a huge marketing campaign for. This was never a movie that was going to be widely eaten up by popcorn-going audiences and seen multiple times by anybody but, yes, Hylon. And then those of you that loved the movie. Annihilation, for me, similarly... Okay. Well, we'll talk about that when we get into Boss Baby and its cultural relevance in a segment I like to call We Get Weird. Because we have a lot of theories that aren't on the air that are much more interesting than anything that I'm saying right now. Yeah. Which is this, that I don't think this is a movie for audiences. I do think it's a movie for critics.
Well, wait. That's a
Dan
weird
Charles?
way to put it. What do you mean like a movie for critics?
In the sense that, and I don't mean largely that critics and audiences disagree, because we often agree, right?
Mm-hmm.
But there are certain films that I think that people that spend a lot of time watching movies, thinking about them, that have a huge background in film history, that are looking for the ways that the medium is being advanced or used or played with, will appreciate and be drawn to in a way that somebody that is looking to escape their worries for a couple of hours is going to feel taxed by, and that's fine.
Listen, critics are a bunch of eggheads generally, okay. And this is a cerebral movie. So
translate me.
Exactly. No, that's basically this is a very cerebral sci-fi movie, and critics generally tend to be big nerds and geeks. That's why they're film critics, because we were too unathletic and unpopular to go do anything else other than watch movies alone. That being said, I see what you're saying. Paramount knew that. Paramount knew that when they read the script. Paramount knew that when they started making the movie, I'm sure. I doubt that Alex Garland just went and made some movie that they'd never seen or heard from. It's based on a book. I mean, I assume someone at Paramount read the book. I have so many thoughts on having seen the movie. And apart from my opinion of the movie itself, this movie, if I were Alex Garland, I would be furious.
He's
and
furious.
He should be, because this movie was meant to be seen on a screen.
It's gorgeous.
The visual effects, the sound, the music, everything, the look of the movie. There are things in this movie that you're not going to pick up as easily on a small screen. The crucial things in this movie. And there's a sequence in this movie that should be seen in a big, dark theater with an audience because it is one of the most tense, creepy, scary sequences I have seen in a movie in a long time. If I were Alex Garland, I would, 1, never work with Paramount again for doing this, and 2, I would put in my contract that if you hire me to make this movie, you are going to put this in a theater because it is criminal that the studio sold this movie out in every other country but here in China. That it is criminal.
Canada.
It is in Canada. It is criminal.
So Billy and I talked about this earlier on the drive-in, like we do, and where I'm 100% with you is that Alex Garland is and should be furious. This movie is stunning. It is so well executed, and the visuals are unlike any that you will see in any other movie, probably in your lifetime, largely because of the nature of the story.
Yeah.
But from Paramount's perspective, because where I 100% agree with you is I want everybody to see this on a big screen because that's how this movie is best enjoyed. But where Paramount is coming from, they had a really bad year last year. They were really financially crippled. They're probably second, triple, quadruple guessing all of their choices, including they've invested in a lot of kind of adult films, which is great. We need those. But investing in something like I use the example of Mother in the sense of like, I wonder if they're asking themselves, should we have spent less on this? Should we have marketed it less? Should we have sent it to a place like Netflix because it is such a niche film for a very particular audience? You guys haven't seen Annihilation yet, but what do you think?
No, well, I think that it is messed up when just hearing that it is like a real cinematic experience because this is one of the most anticipated movies of the year for me. I was super excited to see it in theaters. Then when I heard the story this morning, I was like, oh, maybe I'll fire up that little proxy thing I got when I was traveling internationally to still see like American Netflix and stuff like that and just kind of see Annihilation on there. So the fact that I was considering that for one of my most anticipated movies means that a lot of people are just going to wait till it comes out on Netflix or just watch it on Netflix.
What's your international? I know I'm dumb right now, but I don't know what. I
So
honestly don't know
Netflix
what
has
that
different
means.
offerings depending on what country, and there's a little Chrome extension that you put in, and it's like it makes the Netflix think you're browsing it from
Is this
Mexico.
a legal thing we should be
It's
discussing?
not legal, but I pay for Netflix, and I was doing it while I was traveling and didn't want to stop watching my shows. So so there you go.
Tricked your computer into thinking you're watching Le Netflix.
Joe, I hear you. I mean, Dan, like, believe me, I want people to see this on the big screen. It's stunning. But I also I really think, JT in our group is the three of us have seen it. He didn't care for it. You and I think I legit love this movie. I'm probably going to see this movie many times. But having said that, I have also seen a movie called Waking Life many times, which objectively, that makes me an asshole, kind of.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does.
It does. I think Paramount starts to shoot themselves in the foot when they start to really micromanage and overthink this stuff. I think if they had just advertised Mother as, hey, this is going to be a weird art house little mind F, it probably would have done better and have been well received. But instead they tried to disguise it as, did you like it? You'll love the clowning around in Mother. It's also scary. And everyone went and saw it and went, what are you doing? And I think with a film like Annihilation, I think they've shot themselves in the foot assuming that flyover states are going to be like, what the hell? What's this movie? This ain't a Star Wars. Which is, I mean, let's read read between the lines. That's what they're saying.
Natalie Portman is a national treasure.
That's kind of what you're saying.
You think they're condescending the audience and assuming that the audience won't like this movie?
Well, I think the concept of critics versus people is a little come on, you give people some credit. I think
it's more expectations versus people, because watching the marketing for this, I mean, I'd heard that it was weird from just reading about the source material, but the trailers look like it's like Alien, like they're going into the LZ.
Yeah.
They're like,
Paramount's doing that thing
scan her
again.
up.
Yeah.
They're setting this movie up for failure. They're doing that stupid thing they did with Mother, where they're completely mismarketing this movie.
Yeah, they
They're
are.
promising a movie that it doesn't deliver because they bought something that they don't know how to sell, and now they don't have the courage of their convictions to stand behind what they already bought. It is infuriating to me that they are doing this.
I wonder how early test audiences responded to Arrival, because I actually think these are very different films in a lot of ways, but in the sense that they are high concept movies
High concept sci-fi.
that play with time and perception.
Deliberate,
Yeah.
not thrill, not a Star Wars as just JT. When you saw it, did you know you were seeing Annihilation?
Yeah.
You did. That's the other thing I want to know with these test audiences, because a lot of times with the test audience, they'll just grab people.
You want to see a movie?
Oh, yeah, exactly. They'll just grab people off the street, and this is not a movie that I think is accessible to a general audience in the sense that 9 out of 10 people would go in and be like, oh, okay, that was good. Like for example, a Jumanji. Jumanji is a very accessible movie. Just about anybody could go in and see Jumanji and just be like, oh, okay, yeah, that was fun, and it was a good action movie. This is a movie that you targeted at people, at sci-fi fans. This is a movie that if you're into science fiction, you're going to probably enjoy. And the less you're into science fiction, the less you're probably going to enjoy it. Maybe or maybe not, but it's not just that accessible. And it's Paramount had to have known that when they made this movie, and then they bail on it. And if you're in the UK or Germany or any of the overseas countries, I feel bad because they don't get to see this on a big screen. And again, that is a shame.
I
It is
agree.
a real shame, and I think that Paramount shot themselves in the foot. I thought they didn't think anyone would like this movie, and they were like, well, we're going to look like real heroes when we pull the shoot on this and, just send it to Netflix. And I think there's going to be people that it's going to backfire on them.
Well, there's really bad timing, too. Had this been the first movie out the gate for Netflix like this, I think they could have spun it as this is a revolutionary change to how we're distributing film, and Netflix is but we just did Bright, which was a failure. We just did
No, it wasn't.
not for
it was
Netflix.
not a failure at all.
A critical failure.
It was not a failure for Netflix, though. Not even remotely.
Cloverfield did not do well either. Was there a positive story around Cloverfield?
I mean,
is what I'm saying?
Cloverfield didn't generate as many
Critically
views
Bright was
as,
a joke on social media.
Sure, but
Cloverfield follows suit, and now this is
so
the
are
third one.
but
So it's
here,
bad timing.
Every Adam Sandler movie is a critical joke as well, but that doesn't mean that they don't make money, and doesn't mean that they don't get Netflix plenty of views, because they do.
So you're saying that this is a good move for Netflix?
No,
and
I'm not
Paramount.
saying that necessarily. I'm saying that if Paramount, I'm looking at Paramount's position, first of all, in defense of the idea of there's certain types of music, right? Like the kind that my boyfriend plays that is entirely inaccessible to me. I don't understand it. It's weird.
Sorry.
He is a wonderful musician.
This is our first song. It's called Good Warning.
Yeah.
I have actually, in all due respect, never heard your boyfriend's band, but look, I know my cores, my deathcore, my metalcore.
Sure, but I'm not even talking about
hardcores.
the vocalization, the screaming aspect of it. It's grindcore. I mean, he's playing really, really, really complicated, very, very, very fast.
The musicianship is incredible.
That I
It's
can't
just
hear.
not for everyone, yeah.
And it's not for me, and I don't like it. Which doesn't mean that I can't like music, and that I don't enjoy music, and that I'm not allowed to have an opinion about music. It means he's doing a thing that I don't understand it. It just is inaccessible to me because I haven't spent the time and the energy that he has learning that craft and understanding it the way that he does. So this film isn't that. It's not the grindcore of movies. There are films that are the grindcore of the movies that are largely completely inaccessible because they are so experimental and they're let's just set the frame on fire and shit. I love that crap too. This is somewhere in a different area of that spectrum. And if Paramount is freaking out because they're losing money and they don't want to invest the kind of money it would take to properly market it because they think that's a losing venture, then they split the difference. And they brought it here in Canada and China.
Yeah, I'm sure if they have some, spreadsheet that they punch it into and it's it'll do X in theaters and Netflix is handing us a check that says Y on it and Y is bigger than X, so we'll take the check.
I mean, economically, I get it, but again, you are sending if you're Paramount, and I don't know if they considered this, you are sending a message to any filmmaker that might want to work with you. Hey, if at some point it makes more sense for us economically, if we punch numbers into a table and it makes more sense for us economically for a risky project, or if you're going to be ambitious or try something different, we may bail on this and no one sees it in a theater and then everyone sees it on Netflix. It may never come out theatrically, which is how I think 9 out of 10 directors are making their movies to be seen in a theater. And I guarantee you Alex Garland I mean, this is one of the most unique. If you go see this movie, whether you like it or not, I promise you, it's going to be one of the most unique theatrical experiences.
Yeah.
And now that is gone for most
It
of the
also
world.
has more of a linear storyline than I think they're giving it credit for. It's not.
Yeah.
It's not it's not. It's extremely clear what's happening.
But I'm gonna double down on the timing too, because in the wake of Cloverfield being Netflix trying to go, see, it's look at the cool release we're doing, and then everyone went, this is a bad movie. In a very quick period of time now, Annihilation now has the sheen of, oh, this is a direct-to-blockbuster film. Like, that's what that means now. Like, oh, we're just giving up and dumping it to Netflix. Like, in a very quick period of time for features right now, or at least that's sort of the popular sort of trend and opinion. Netflix. This isn't a prestige destination. Suddenly, this is now where studios kind of cut their losses. Like, that's why Cloverfield is that what it's called? Paradox? I haven't seen it yet.
Paradox.
That's why it got dumped on Netflix. It's a loss cut. And
It's a paradox.
that's the feel now.
If I was going to make
And then
an
they don't
analogy-
address the paradox, which is so annoying. If you're going to do science fiction, do science fiction. And I keep waiting for it to have its damn resurgence, Dan, and be very popular. When is that happening?
when Paramount stops selling the good sci-fi movies to Netflix.
Well, I mean, it's going to get a release here. So this is what's going to be interesting. We're actually going to have an example of how it would have done in theaters, because it's going to be out in theaters here in China and Canada. It's just not going to be out in theaters in the rest of the world. So we're actually going to have a good case comparison. Maybe that's why they're doing it.
And it's going to make probably $30 to $50 million here in the U.S. Probably, I would guess. It's that kind of movie. But you know that. As a studio, you have to know that. You have to know what kind of movie you're buying. And if they put in too much money, if they gave it too much of a budget and they're worried that they're not going to make their money back, then either one, don't make it, or two, figure out a way to make it work with the resources that you're comfortable spending.
Yeah,
But they
I'd
also
be
developed
curious-
this 3 years ago, which was before they knew that they had one of their worst years ever.
So yeah, I'd be interested to
Actually, I
see
don't know, it's
the
one of their worst.
interested to see the comp to Ex Machina box office wise, if they were just going off of that, or if this was maybe 3 years ago. They were like, look, we're not in love with this movie, but like we want to have a good relationship with Alex Garland. He's like an up and coming filmmaker. Like we want to be in business with him, and then 3 years later, they're like, well, we need to liquidate him for cash right now.
I mean, I really feel like, and I'm, again, like, to be clear, because we all have a lot of feelings, I'm not saying that Paramount is or is not doing the right thing, and I'm not saying that I would be able to predict this, but I think they can't predict it either. I think they have a movie that when they first screened it, people hated it. And then later on, they started to redirect their plan for how they were going to distribute, and then critics came in and were like, you're crazy. This thing is amazing. We love it. We think it's beautiful. Give it a shot. Maybe audiences will respond.
I'm comfortable saying artistically they're doing the wrong thing.
Artistically, they're absolutely doing the wrong thing, but they also have to be financially solvent to keep making art.
But I think even that's I think a wrong move in what they're trying to do, because now the story around the American theatrical release is the fact that it's not worth releasing in theaters anywhere else is now attached to the domestic release of this film, and I think that's.
think so?
I think a lot of hardcore people who would have been like, yeah, I'll go see Annihilation, now sort of have it in their head of, I'll probably be able to stream this in like 3 weeks. Why would I want to go to the theater and see it?
What is the release? Do we know, Billy?
think it's
do we
3
know
weeks
when the
or
release is here? It's 3 weeks later.
Oh, on Netflix?
Yeah,
here?
I'm
Oh, I don't
asking
know.
do we know when the release is here in the States? Indeterminate.
Well, I'll see it in theaters after
Good.
this short quasi review.
Alex Garland, you just made
They say,
$17.
they say if you can reach one person, well, you'll take the wife, so that's at least maybe 30.
Yeah,
What do
we liked
think, 30,
Arrival
20,
a lot,
30?
and yeah, sure, and Ex Machina.
Yeah, one. There's one.
There you
Joe,
go.
are you in?
No.
Okay.
Just nope.
We wait for Netflix.
Yep.
There you go. Well, there's your case study, Paramount. I'm gonna go see it again, and I'm legit gonna advocate for this movie. I'm gonna take people to it. I really think it's a beautiful film. I don't know that everyone will agree. JTE certainly doesn't, and that's valid, you know.
Well, again, it's like
But I also love science fiction, and so do you.
Exactly. To put that much stock into a test. That's the other thing. Put that much stock into a test audience. Like, again,
I think it's an interesting story to look at too. Is like, Are they hurting things or helping things?
Right, like
That
you
dependence on them.
Who is this test audience? Like, if it's just random people who pulled off the street, of course you're not gonna get.
They did it for a coupon, Dan. They were promised a complimentary cheddar biscuit Red Lobster coupon, so they're like, "All right, I'll see the movie."
You can get a free Mrs. Fields if you just come on in.
By the way, I would do a lot for a cheddar biscuit.
So
I know,
many of
that
these
sounds really
test
good.
audiences go in blind, and then they take their word for it, and it's like, no, if you're gonna test it to people that might actually, want to go see the movie. Because if you show this to just anybody, of course you're gonna get wildly divergent thoughts. It's that kind of movie, which again, if you're Paramount and you know what you're doing, which they don't, you should know.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not.
Oh, here it comes. Ding, ding, ding.
Oh boy.
He's running in.
JCA.
I will say this: the test audience I saw it with, a lot of film geeks, knew it was Annihilation, a lot of LA film school kids. As I was in line for like an hour, because you have to wait a while, we were just all talking about Ex Machina. So I felt like it wasn't like just your average like mall guy coming in like, hey, what's going on? I did talk to all of them after the movie, so I don't know how they all felt, but it felt like a really good like film lovers like kind of community in that line. So for that test audience, again, because they knew it was Annihilation,
That stood outside
Maybe
for an
I'm
hour and a
wrong.
half.
Maybe
before they
I'm
saw the
wrong,
movie.
then.
most of those people came out were like, we're here to see Annihilation.
And
Are
they
you a
hated
big
it?
sci-fi
No, I'd
fan?
say I don't know how they felt afterwards. They were all excited to see it. I'm just curious what those cards said. Mine wasn't too positive, but it felt like a good audience. That's all I'm saying.
Do you like science fiction generally?
Oh yeah, I love Sunshine. I love 2001: Space Odyssey.
Have I mentioned Fringe?
Fringe? I never watched
Have I
Fringe.
suggested that everybody watch Fringe?
I should.
Did the movie look finished?
It looked 100% finished because I've been to some screens before where it's like some temporary music, some effects. We walked out of the movie, we're like, that thing looks 100% finished.
Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we're the outliers here. But how many times have you seen behind the scenes when they're like, yeah, we showed this to a test audience and it was a disaster, and we released it and it was a huge success. You know
what's weird? My one complaint about the movie, just given their rationalization, I really love the movie, but my only complaint is that I find it to be a little on the nose, particularly in one sequence towards the end. We'll talk later. Yeah. But it's gorgeous. It is beautiful. If you look at it as a metaphor, it's amazing. If you look at it as just a story, it has layers. It's something we can talk about. Go see the movie. Yeah. That's what we should land on. Yeah. You have the opportunity here in the United States and China, hello, and Canada, how are you?
Hey.
Go see it. Oh.
And if you're in any other country, I would be very livid that I don't get to see this in a theater because you're missing out. And I would advocate to let the proper parties know that you're angry that you're missing out. Because
sure, write a letter.
You should be angry because this is not a movie that was meant to be seen on Netflix. This is a movie that was meant to be seen on the big screen. That's the way it was made. That's the way it should be seen.
And if you're gonna watch it on the Netflix, please don't do it on your phone, or your computer. If you have the option. You may not.
Can you hook your laptop up to a movie theater screen? Because that's probably the idea.
Yeah.
If there was screenings of Annihilation,
just a little HDMI, on a theater screen.
that would be the idea. We actually have some quick news updates. Very quickly, Joker movie, the origin story, everybody's favorite topic, the tracking boards. Jeff Snyder shared what appears to be a part of a larger press release, which reveals that the project's logline and lists start date of May 1st, and that Joaquin Phoenix is listed as, quote, interested. So
Jeff's going through
he's having a moment.
care less and less of these passing. That's the
okay.
Man.
I didn't know we were going to show the full tweet.
Jeff?
You and me both, Jeff. I know, we don't put it on Twitter. Like,
Can we go back? I really want to talk about Jeff's existential dread a little more.
Yeah.
You good, buddy? Jeff?
I like Jeff. I didn't.
Yeah.
I need to email
You okay,
Jeff.
man?
Yeah.
Hey, Jeff. It gets better.
Okay.
I think he's having a little
can we look
moment.
at
Send some love to Jeff.
Can we look
Jeff.
at the log line there? I
He's,
want to read
let's
that.
look at the
Sorry,
log line.
I was just alarmed because I know Jeff and he's a nice fella.
Chronicles the origin of the Joker.
In gritty
Oh, boy.
early 80s Gotham City.
That's essentially what we've heard.
Yeah.
Those are the things.
Starts May 1st of this year. I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, Young Joker, Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah, okay.
All right.
Young Joker's my rap name.
Young Joker.
And then there was
That's my ad lib.
there was another journalist last week that also was just spilling all the tea. So that's the world we're in right now. All the tea is going to get spilled. Also from yesterday, Bond. We were talking about the James Bond. Actually, it looks like the front runner to direct is Danny Boyle, which is pretty interesting. Danny Boyle is a director that he's only made, I think, one movie that I didn't totally care for, and it was called Trance.
King Arthur. Oh.
And no, I love him.
Danny Boyle. Oh, yeah.
Danny Boyle.
Right.
He's made so many films that I love, and I have always wanted to interview him. And the only movie I got to interview him for was Trance, and it was sad.
Aw.
Yeah, you guys, you know that Danny Boyle.
Yeah.
I do know who he is.
You know
now.
that Danny Boyle.
You heard about
Yeah.
you heard about
You
this
heard
guy?
about him?
Hey, you seen him?
Yes. He did
Danny
Shallow
Boyle?
Grave. That's one of my favorite movies ever.
It's a good
He
filmmaker.
obviously did Train Spotting.
Yeah, zombie movie.
You hear about
It's
that?
funny, too.
He did the 28 Days Later.
Yeah.
28 days.
Pretty good director.
He was
Slumdog
the-
Millionaire, for which he won a Best Director.
He was the
sure
second
did.
unit director for 28 Weeks Later.
Yes. Fun facts about Danny Boyle. What do we think is a Danny Boyle Bond?
That could be interesting.
Interesting.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm intrigued.
I can get behind that.
I would be
Yeah.
intrigued if you merged 28 Days with Bond.
Ooh, Zombie Bond.
Zombie
Yeah,
Bond.
just
Zombie.
Bond,
Like, how
just
does
Bond
Bond-
running from fast zombies.
Or does he become a fast zombie?
No, because they did
Whoa.
that. They tried to like humanize one of the fast zombies in 28 Weeks Later, and that was the only part of the movie
this
that
one?
really did not work. Yeah.
Which one, Roth?
It's ironic because Daniel Craig seemed like he was a zombie in Spectre. So
There we go.
It's, we've already gotten one zombie Bond.
Low energy, sad.
Craig Burns. So sad. Oh, no, not going to do
He could
it.
snap me in half like I was nothing. And
He's a relatively, he's not a huge man.
he was great in Logan
He's
Lucky.
wiry.
Great in
as
Logan.
F.
Very wiry.
He's very wiry. I bet he
Wiry.
could, yeah. You could take him down.
I, with certainty could not.
I think
That's
we've
not what I
all-
heard you say earlier off camera.
Call him
fact-
out all the time.
In fact, you know what, Craig? Consider this an official challenge.
Yep.
You v. Dan Murrell.
Dan will Krav Maga
Any
the crap
day,
out of you.
buddy.
I concede.
Ooh, any day, Bond.
I concede. Uncle, whatever you need me to say.
Spencer's tagging in. I think we've all asked ourselves which one of us is most likely to be a serial killer and which one of us is most likely to solve that crime. This is also a question that our own...
You're segueing.
Oh, it's a segue.
Nice segue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Danielle Radford asked of Jason Bateman and the cast of Game Night, which opens this weekend. Let's take a look.
Someone in this room is going to be taken.
Oh, it's a murder mystery party.
Do you think you would be able to solve a murder in real life?
It's just the best question of the day. I think I would.
Yeah?
I think I would. I think I'd probably just try to get into the head of the killer and kind of do things backwards, right?
Right.
Tonight, we're taking game night up a notch. We don't need a board and we do not need pieces.
We won't need any extra rudeness either.
There is a lot of criminal activity in the film. If you were going to be any kind of criminal, what kind of crime would you do if you knew you could get away with it? Arson!
He likes to watch
just
things
look.
burn.
I mean, it's just
and that is what he does.
yeah.
I'd want to be a vigilante. Go after bad
Yes.
guys. Yeah, that'd be
Ooh,
awesome.
that's a good one.
I'm gonna join his
Oh,
Vigilantes?
now we got two of us.
That's fantastic. More partners, right? Not like you don't want to deal with like a sidekick superhero. kind of.
Yeah, no, partners.
Partners.
60-40 partners.
right down the middle. Yeah.
Embezzler.
Ooh.
Because nobody gets hurt physically.
Well.
Physically.
Uh-huh. Murderer? Because nobody gets hurt
No,
physically.
somebody does get hurt.
I watch Forensic Files all the time. I watch Dateline. I'm obsessed with Lester Holt and Keith Morrison. I definitely know my way around the forensics of a murder.
Maybe the better question is, do you think you'd be able to get away with a murder?
Do you think you'd be able
Well,
to get
do
away
you
with
think
a
you'd
murder?
be able to think through all the things you'd need to hide to not get caught?
What? No.
It's funny because you've been doing a few crime projects.
I'm learning a little bit on each one.
Yeah, so now do you think you're really starting to get into the brain of a criminal?
Yeah, I'm gonna take over the world.
I'm never gonna be able to leave this room alive.
You're all dead. And I'm taking the tape.
When we were filming this movie, I did have some downtime. And so I spent a lot of time doing illegal things. Things that I
Such
can't
as?
say. I can't say on camera. I want to incriminate myself.
See, they need actual evidence.
No, I left evidence there, but if I
Oh.
tell them, you know what I'm saying? I'm playing a little cat and mouse game with local detectives in Atlanta PD.
Oh my God.
So I'm playing this little game with them. They know they know me. It's
Whoa. You heard it here first.
me. Little Easter eggs, but I'm not gonna tell you.
Don't leave LA. Which crime do you think would be easier for you to pull off? Murder or like an elaborate money laundering scheme?
Murder. I'm not smart enough for money laundering.
You think you'd be able to do a murder better?
Well, you don't need to be bright to kill somebody. In fact, most dum-dums do it, right? If you're a smart person, you're not going to kill somebody.
No, you'll have someone else do it.
There you go. Now you're really dead.
Is this gun real?
Oh, no, Annie.
You are the most supportive serial killer I think I've ever met, sir.
This is how I get you into the car, with kindness and charm, like Dahmer.
This is fantastic. Thank you so much
Your last
for coming
interview.
out. That's how you end it. You end it with admitting to murder. Look what we did.
That was awesome.
I don't think anyone's surprised that Jason Bateman's a serial killer.
He's an everyman, but there you go.
Here's what I love about Jason Bateman. This is the second time at ScreenJunkies we've gotten to talk to the Bateman. Because we talked to him for Identity Thief back in like whenever way back early ScreenJunkies show, and I just love that he's just like. He'll say what he did. He'll say whatever's on his brains. He's just like, oh, that's the best question I got today. Whatever, it's just like he knows what he's there for. Except we were doing this bit, not our best bit, wasn't a great bit, and we did like one part of it, and Hal like kept going with it. And he goes like, oh, there's more. Oh, okay. Like not in a mean way, just like in a like
genuinely surprised. You're
okay,
still committing
all
to
right,
this.
let's keep doing this.
Lean into this. All right.
It's so good to see a celebrity that can give a good interview.
Yes.
Like, actually give a good interview at a junket because
He actually has a reputation for being tough, so I credit our own Danielle Radford
Cracked
for
that. Charmed him.
But yeah, you cannot resist that charm.
He opened up like a flower throughout
go
the
with what they're actually interested in, which in his case
which
was
is murder. Right, she just rolled right into his actual areas of interest. Yeah, those junkets are not easy, and I do think like she totally nailed how to play with them.
She did.
Yeah, it's a
with
little
Clemens-
behind the curtains thing here though
With
too.
Clemens and the coach, we got as close to a Bloodline Fargo crossover as I'll probably ever get.
Yes. Well, and we got a little Friday Night Lights reunion,
yeah,
which
yeah.
I don't think anyone was surprised. I certainly wasn't that Jason Bateman was more into murder and the coach was. Is Kyle Chandler the coach? That's the question I actually like. Is that just who he is?
He's Coach Taylor.
Yeah.
It's as close to Kyle Chandler. Yeah, like where does one end and the other begin? It's tough to tell.
Well, we have some evidence.
Oh,
so let's
okay.
take a look.
Oh.
Now that the show's been over for a few years, can we be honest? Can Clear Eyes and Full Hearts potentially lose?
Not in the long run.
That's right. That's right. Because out of everything bad, there's something good. You just got to find it. You follow that. You follow your heart. You follow your eyes, and you follow the learning that takes place when you do trip and fall, and all of us do fall. By God, that's when you learn, and you share that, and you spread it to the community around you, the people around you, the nation, and it spreads, and you become a better people for it, a better family for it, and that's what life is all about.
Just quoting Coach Taylor, basically.
That's fine. Will you both adopt me? Is that okay?
Come on, let's go.
Yes.
He turns it on. That's incredible.
Yeah.
That was amazing.
Like a light switch.
That was great.
I don't think they ever wrote his speeches. I
No,
think that
no,
was
no.
just
It's
him.
like, do your thing.
That was
Yep.
improv. Kyle, turn it on. Inspire. Yeah, so that's Game Night is opening up this weekend. Haven't seen that one yet. You're going to see that one tonight, yeah?
Seen it tonight. I'm excited. I've heard some good things about it, so I'm looking forward to it.
Danielle liked it. She thought it was pretty fun. I will say, can I pull the curtain back a little bit? We asked a question that was going to be aimed to be a movie fights question, which was, what is the best movie based on a board game? And so Jason Bateman's response was, well, there's not a lot, are there? And Danielle says, there's Jumanji and Clue. And he's like, that's two.
Very true. Yeah, so which one do you like?
Battleship.
At which point we realized we have not thought this through.
Jesse Plemons was in Battleship.
Yes. So
I wonder if he was obligated to say Battleship had we asked
Do you
him the
think it
question.
would have improved the movie if he had been the one that said "Mahalo, motherfucker"?
Yes.
Or since Taylor Kitsch's in that movie, if they just turned it into Friday Night Lights on a battleship.
Yeah. It would have been better.
Yeah, that would have been a great movie,
If, like,
actually.
post-high school, they joined the Navy and fought aliens in a grid.
And the coach is
much
also
like
there
the
for
game
some reason.
Battleship.
Yes.
Sequel.
That is never going to get a sequel. Next time on Screen Junkies News, we will be talking about all of the films that will never get a sequel. But a question that was asked by an widely read and trafficked entertainment website recently was, which Oscar movie would you like to get a spin-off? And that is when we realized we have fully run out of ideas.
What? Are you asking us that?
No, I'm saying the world is out of ideas.
Oh.
That your Battleship idea is better than that question.
No,
that is
there's
my
infinite ideas. Come on.
Yeah. We come up with new, fresh fight questions every week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
That
The well never runs dry.
That show never gets stale.
They keep making movies. We'll keep talking
Fighting.
about it.
we keep talking about
Fighting
them.
and standing.
Speaking of, Movie Fights is this week. You should definitely check that out. We have
should.
Charting with Dan yesterday, breaking down that Black Panther box
So
office.
many numbers. My head is still swimming.
Yeah, a lot of numbers. Home Alone.
Shot.
I am a lot.
Double
time.
take.
Yep.
Yeah,
your
the thing we
video.
did. Sorry, I am still a latchkey kid.
Yeah.
Which is sad in a lot of ways. Yeah, we did this thing called Double Take where we took that scene in Home Alone and we pulled it apart as best we could, as best you can pull apart that scene from Home Alone. It's a fun video. You should watch it.
You should definitely watch that. Spencer, what's your recommendation this week of things to watch?
Things to watch. Things to watch. Things to watch. Things to watch. Things to watch.
You should watch our Annihilation review, which is going to
Yeah,
be coming
watch
up
that.
later today
today.
from Dan and I, very shortly. Thanks for joining us
Boss
this
Baby,
morning,
again.
Boss Baby. No, I'm not kidding. Can we talk about Boss Baby?
Yeah, we will. A whole
Yeah.
series. Bye bye.